Hi, and welcome to TV My Husband Hates. I'm Cat Sims.
And I'm Reagan Kempton.
And we are reality TV addicts.
Addicts, aficionados.
Ooh, I like that. Experts.
Experts.
Basically, we know our shit when it comes to reality TV.
100%.
Hey guys, it's another episode of TV My Husband Hates. We hope that you have been having a fabulous week. What about you, Reagan? How's your week been?
You know, it's been all right. I made it to the gym. I had a goal of going to the gym 5 days a week this week, and I did it. I'm super sore today, so I'm hobbling around like I'm 80.
Impressive.
But
impressive.
I was on it, but it really helped because I had kids at home all week this week because their school was not in, so it helped me deal with having the children and working and trying to balance all that this week.
Yeah, you just need some time. You just need to get out by yourself and get hot and sweaty, and then you can just about manage the day.
Absolutely. How about you? How was your week?
My week was good. I mean, I feel like somebody's fucking. It's time for TV My Husband Hates Weather Corner, but I feel like somebody fucking switched off summer. And we did that thing where when it was hot, we had the paddling pool out, and then nobody's put it away. So now we've basically got a plastic pond in our garden that nobody wants to touch. So that's nice. But other than that, it was great. It was a good week over here. And in good news, we're gaining shows again.
We are gaining shows. It's no longer a 2-show week for us. So we definitely have more to say, which is fabulous, and more stories to do. I hope you guys all enjoyed the multitude of Instagram stories. I know the latest one just came out this morning, so sorry about that.
I want to say thank you to all our Instagram followers that get involved in the stories, because so many of you do, and I think you really love the the polling, and I love doing it too. I go back to my own personal account and come back and do them. But yeah, thanks for getting involved with that, guys. We loved it for not just talking to an empty room.
Absolutely. I love seeing the results of the polls. They're like little pick-me-ups throughout the day. Like, oh, people are listening, and I hope we're giving you a bit of reprieve of all the crazy shit that's going on as well. Like, I hope that's where our podcast lies for you.
Well, I hope so too, but also just talking about the polls, and it was to do with $1 Million Listing LA, so we'll come back to it later. But I was really surprised that the polls really seemed to favor James and David.
I know, because honestly, they're not my favorites at this point in the show.
I wondered if maybe it was because the majority of our audience, I think, is American, and maybe they were falling for that kind of British charm, which, by the way, don't fucking fall for that shit. It's all bollocks. When I lived in America, I used it to my advantage, and it worked a treat. But don't fall for it. We're all manipulating you. If we're British and we're living in the States, we are definitely manipulating you with our accents. Hands down.
I will also say, though, as an American who lived in Britain, it does work the opposite way, too. Like, wherever you're at, if you have a different accent, it works in your favor.
That's true. Anyway, at least something's working for them, because they're annoying me. But we will get on to $1 Million Listing LA. But let's start right at the beginning with Below Deck Mediterranean. And it's another exciting week. Can I just say, sorry to
go ahead.
Let you get a fucking word in. This Below Deck Mediterranean season has smashed, in terms of ratings, anything and everything that has come before it. And apparently every single episode is gaining viewers. So I don't know whether that's because there's just fuck all else to watch, because coronavirus, the Corrie What's-it, as we call it in our house, or whether people are really starting to come to the mothership of Below Deck.
I think people are starting to come to the mothership, but I also think it's really exciting to see an all-female leadership crew, and they're fucking killing it. I will hands down, this will be written in Below Deck history from me. Malia is the best bosun I have ever seen on any season of any of the Below Decks.
100%, absolutely, I agree with you. She is killing it. And the one thing that we thought, she might drop the ball on this one last week, which was this idea of overlooking Rob because he's really quiet. This week, it was almost like I was watching it. I was like, well, she's been listening to our podcast. I mean, obviously, that doesn't work out. This was filmed a long time ago.
Right.
But last week, we were saying we're worried that she's going to overlook Rob. He's going to get kind of disgruntled, a bit resentful. This week, she turns up, takes a minute to stop him to say, I know it's really easy for you to feel like overlooked, but just so that you know, I really appreciate everything you're doing. You're killing it. Gives him that boost. And I just thought, fuck this. I don't think she can do anything wrong.
No, and so I think like the excuse of being too busy to give praise is now out the window on either interior or exterior, because I think we have seen that it can happen. So now it needs to happen, like across the board. All of you.
I think Hannah needs to learn from Malia. If Hannah's smart, which she won't be because we love Hannah, but she's not one for learning. She would take a look at Malia and take on a lot of her management skills and management expertise, but she's, she won't, and that's fine.
Well, and I think what's amazing is Malia hasn't been doing this for ages. Like, she is new to this role. She is fairly new to yachting. I think this is like her 3rd season, and she's fucking killing it. And it's a lot of like common sense, empathy, and fucking great ass management skills.
Yeah, she really is, and it's so refreshing to see this on TV. It's so refreshing to see, yes, an all-female crew, that's important, but also see them not fucking up, because that would be the easy narrative to tell, right? That they all start fighting and doing all of that. But Sandy's a badass. Marley's killing it. Hannah is Hannah, and they're just. But even that is they're still doing better than any other boat I've seen, really.
Well, they are working together in such brilliant ways, because like we have seen boats being docked at the Rain and how it's really hard on the interior, and we've seen the deck crew kind of fucking off. But in this episode, we really see Malia step it up and like create a poker night and like have the deck crew really interacting with the guests to kind of ease the load of the interior. Yeah. And they're tricky guests too, but like they're all fucking nailing it.
They are, and they are tricky guests. Like
not even. Sorry, I was gonna say not the main guy. Like Justin is brilliant. He's super sweet. Like Hannah's taking care of his lovely dog, and I think that's all handled brilliantly. But his guest with like the diamond watch is a massive douche.
He's an absolute fucking cockwomble, and the way that he bangs on about these oysters, and you know what it is? It's really typical. It's not generally the person in this kind of situation. It's not the person with the money who can afford to do this that is the dickhead. It's the one that they've brought along with them that like is using it as an opportunity to just be Billy fucking big balls. And like I don't disagree with Hannah bringing out that preference sheet. And like you and I chatted about a little bit earlier, I do think she could have done it a little smarter.
She could have killed him with kindness and then whipped out the sheet 100%. She didn't need to be rude about it and then bring out the sheet.
Yeah. She could have, like you say, just kill him with kindness, been really sweet and amenable, and then, reveal his own stupidity to him, kind of, bitch slap him with it. But she didn't do that. But that's Hannah. We love her, but she's not the smartest. She's not the smartest when it comes to kind of
interpersonal relations.
Managing her own personal emotions in a professional setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are douchey, and then they keep her up until 6:30 in the morning. I'm too old for that shit. I'm too old for that shit.
100%.
I don't blame her for getting arsey, but even then, you do just have to suck it up and do it. And you just know that if Marley had been in that situation, she would have done it with a smile on her face. And Hannah just needs to go that extra mile. But they they bring everybody back. They have a big party, and at the end of the day, they seem to nail it, and they seem happy-ish.
Absolutely. I also think that has a lot to do with having Bugsy on board as well, because she's nailing the table settings. She's like a championship table setter, which is fabulous.
Who knew that was a thing?
Who knew that was a thing? But I love having her in the mix, because I do really think she can really support Hannah, and I really hope that's the way this goes. She also fucking nails Pete when she calls him the crew mess creep. Like,
it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. Like 30 seconds in, she's like, I have the measure of you. Thank you very much and goodbye. Like, it put him back in his place. And I think what I found interesting about the dynamic this week was since Sandy had that chat and Malia had chatted to Rob and Alex and things, I think what we're starting to see is this freezing out a little bit of Pete. And I don't know whether that's editing, because we do know that they are editing him out on the basis of his racist comments recently. But it's really it doesn't feel like it's editing. It feels like actually people are just seeing him for what he is, just don't really like it, and are just kind of compartmentalizing him a little bit. And I love that.
Absolutely. I think this is the best case scenario because you have you have Alex and Rob who are not misogynistic tools. So they're just like, we're not having any part of that.
Yeah.
You can just be a tool on your own. And I think that's where we're really going to see him just be frozen out and nobody really care.
And it's getting to him. You can see him start to whine, and he's starting to get like sensitive, really sensitive.
Super
and
sensy.
I mean, it's kind of awkward to watch, but Malia's doing a great job. She's basically giving him the rope to hang himself with, and he's doing it at every turn. And the way that he's super sarcastic on the radio, and then does this, I was just being serious, like it was an important rope. And she's like, it was not lost on me, and I fucking no.
I got you, dude.
I got you. I think she's handling him brilliantly, and I think he's just. I would be surprised if he lost the season.
I totally agree. I mean, with his comments about like them biting his head off, like he's trying to make himself the victim and nobody's having it. And so I think we're just going to see. Yeah, I think we're going to see a steady decline. I love that she fucking called him out for that sarcasm thing rather than just let it go, because I think like she's had enough of him. So now we're going to just see her start, because it's, I think a couple episodes ago we talked about how we really want to see her just shut it down immediately, and that's where she's at with him, and it's gorgeous to watch.
It is. It's beautiful to watch this like tiny pocket rocket of a woman kind of just use her power for good. I mean, I think it's what we've always wanted to see. In comparison to last season of Below Deck, this is joyful. It's joyful to watch.
It's 100% joyful. Like, I think Riley could take some hardcore lessons from Malia on like how she handles the dudes and maybe how to handle dudes on the deck of a boat. And, you know, maybe we'll see some changes in future seasons of Below Decks with that kind of dynamic.
I mean, that being said, I do think it's easier for Malia as bosun to manage that behavior as their superior, that they can't argue with that.
Nailed it.
Whereas Riley was always third deckhand, bless her cotton socks, so she was always like right at the bottom of the totem pole, just like scrappy and trying to fight her way out of it. But I do think you're right. I think she could definitely learn some lessons. And I think it's, if you're a woman working in this industry, sad as it is, you got to learn how to fucking manage that shit, because it's there and it's happening. And to just get annoyed that it's there is childish. It's there. Go in knowing that it's there and figure out how to fucking make it work to your advantage.
Absolutely. Well, and I think also Riley didn't have any other like sympathetic deckhands. They were all douchey misogynists. So
I mean, to be fair, she was
to play
like
the numbers.
She was living in the 1950s version of yachting. Like, let's be honest about that. The odds were really stacked against her.
Yeah.
I think I would have like lost my shit as well. But no, yes. Malia, cannot praise her highly enough. I'm just, even if I had to think of anything, I can think of anything to criticize her for right now.
No, like she nailed it. I'm excited to keep watching her nail it and kick everyone's ass. So well done.
She's a babe. Shall we move on?
Yes, to MDLLA.
Sorry. $1 million listing, Los Angeles. So we have Altman, Flag, and James and David in this episode, but no Tracy.
Yeah, no Tracy, which I was really bummed out about because we were so on fire about her last episode. So.
But you know, she followed us on Instagram.
I did. I saw that. It made me so happy.
Listen, if you think there's anything cool about either of us, I want you to know it's absolutely not true. Anytime anybody follows us on Instagram or just like reposts one of our stories, like we screenshot it, we do a happy dance, we tell our husbands who literally don't give a shit, and then we WhatsApp it to each other with lots of like whoop whoop and celebration emojis, and that's how we deal with that. So that's like, exciting.
Not only do our husbands not care about Instagram, like they don't even care to like, oh, that's great, like I can see how that would be good for you. Like my husband's not even on Instagram, he doesn't understand it, like he could not give two fucks.
I have to, do you know what I do have to say, because we've been talking a little bit to MJ from Shahs of Sunset.
Yeah.
We're working on something and it's a bit of a slow burn, but we may get something from MJ on Shahs of Sunset. And I did say that to Jimmy, and he did actually go, God, that would be amazing. And I was like, oh, okay, great. But then I, signed up to TikTok now I terrorize him with that. So he hates me all over again.
It looks like he is hating life in those videos. I'm like,
hates everything about it. But the problem is that the more he hates it, the funnier it is. So I was like, the only way for you to really stop me do this is to actually just get on board, because then it'll be boring. But the fact that you hate it is just genius. My poor husband. So back to $1 Million Listing LA. No Tracy Tutor this week, but we did have Josh Altman selling the Howard Hughes house.
And I love the owners of this house, because at first when the guy was like, I really want to play like at the open house, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be a disaster. But it was brilliant. It was fantastic.
It was so good. Well, and I think Josh Altman said it. So the thing is, you don't really ever want the owner of the house there. Right. You want to be able to talk honestly about the house. But what that did is, even if it wasn't your kind of music, it showed you what a great party house it was. That you could have a fucking band on the roof terrace. And this is when Josh Altman is at his best, right? So he then gets on the mic and he's playing the guitar, and that is how he sells houses. And yes, Absolutely. It's flashy and it's a bit obnoxious, but there is something quite endearing about it, and it obviously works. It's him, right?
Yeah, I think you can only sell things that way if that's who you authentically are. Like David and James could not do that. It wouldn't come off well. Maybe Flag could do a little bit of it, because he's definitely a showman as well, and I think that's where what the Joshes have in common. Like, they're just naturally show people, and they love to do that, and they're, they can take the piss out of themselves, and it's okay. And I think that's what makes them likable as well. Because I think if Josh Altman didn't have that, you would not fucking like him at all.
No, he'd be an absolute grade A prick. But there is something endearing about him. Anybody who can laugh at themselves is always charming, and he does have a charm. But this house, just to go to the house porn element of this,
absolutely.
I see, obviously, LA. It's really weird for a UK person seeing kind of construction in America. But because it all goes up so quickly, because we build houses using bricks. Like, that's how we build houses, but that's not necessarily how it happens in the States. So they fly up really quickly. And in LA, there doesn't seem to be, apart from in these kind of preservation areas, there's no rules about what you can just build whatever the fuck you want. Whereas here, you always have to get permission to build anything at all, and it's likely to. They're really notoriously difficult, even if you're not in a particularly protected zone. So you see all these amazing houses go up in LA, like completely different architecture. But this house was like the one house I've seen on this show that just had so much soul and character. It's my favorite house I've seen on the show.
Totally. I'm a massive sucker for mid-century modern houses. I love all the houses that were kind of built in that time frame. I love this house as well. We do build in bricks. I think the difference between the US and the UK is generally just landmass. Like, we have the land built, right? Especially if you talk about London. Like, London is so built up, you can't really just build anything like it does, kind of, because more often than not, you're building right next to two different people, right? Where here you can just build, and sometimes you don't even see people for ages. Different areas have New York is probably very similar to London. I think Boston's very similar, but the further west you go, the more space you have. So I think that's the reason for that. You do have to, there is always planning structures. Like, you have to have plans approved and things like that. But I think it's an easier process, at least based on what I see on Grand Designs versus America.
Well, I think also what I loved about this house is that they didn't go in and just rip shit out.
Yeah.
Like, they obviously modernized it and made it beautiful, but they kept so much of the original features, which is something you don't see. When we see later in the show, James and David trying to sell the Pasadena house, which, by the way, I also fucking loved. You just had people walking through it go, well, we're just going to rip it all out. And you just think, oh, God, there's so much in there that you could save, and the character would be beautiful, but it's going to get ripped out. But that's why I love this house that Altman was trying to sell. And I was like, out of everything, that's the house I'd buy if I had a spare 10.95 million.
Absolutely. It was like a sympathetic remodel, right? Like, it kept really great things, but also made it more usable for a modern family, which I think you could do with that Pasadena house. I don't think you need to rip everything out of it. You definitely need a newer kitchen. Like, that kitchen was fucking awful.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, I don't think you need to gut it, which is what I think a lot of people were doing. But yeah, I would agree with you. This has been my favorite house to date.
And the sunken living room.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I
That one
thought it
agent that was
fabulous.
like, there have been key parties here, was
Yeah.
totally on the notes.
I say he's absolutely right. Why wouldn't you though? If I had a sunken, maybe I'd start swinging.
Yeah, maybe that's what we all need. Just more sunken living rooms for more sex.
Touch of the swinging. The other love of my life when it comes to reality TV is Josh Flagg, and of course, here we see him with a brand new client who, by the way, when she calls his office, I fucking love. Some of the things that she said had me howling.
She's amazing. And I think they're a great duo. And I definitely think that's why Josh wanted to take her on. I love that we saw kind of a switch and saw him taking her to see homes, because we don't see that a lot on this show. And I really like to see kind of his process and his banter and them kind of talking shit about crappy houses. I'm here for more of that.
I love the way she's like, listen, I'm not a diligent dog owner, and we need to move where there's less coyotes, though, because dog munching is no bueno. He's like, right, and you just knew, even Josh was like, I think we're going to get along fine.
Well, yeah, because doesn't he bring up, like, couldn't you sell one of your kids and, like, up the budget?
See, this is why Josh Flagg would be my real estate agent.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I do, like, I fully agree. I love, and I wish we saw more of them having clients and showing houses rather than selling houses, because I really enjoy watching them interact. And Josh Flagg and Heather, the banter between them is excellent.
It was gold. It was gold. I loved it.
It really was. And I think this is what Josh Flagg's really good at. But it was really interesting to see. I can't wait to see what house she actually ends up buying. And then finally, we have James and David on the Pasadena house.
Yes, the Pasadena house, which they won over Tracy. And I will have to say, they would not have, I truly believe they would not have gone through, getting renderings and all this other stuff to really sell this house had Tracy not been on the forefront of their minds.
Of course they did. If Tracy hadn't said what she said and they hadn't heard the feedback that the seller gave them from what she said, there's no way he would have given it the attention. But he wanted to prove her wrong. She lit a fire up his ass and he went off and did a great job. But he wouldn't have done it if she hadn't said anything. Everything she said in that meeting was absolutely true. And the only reason he went even half into this house as he did is because she shamed him, essentially. She shamed him into it.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, that's all they talked about was, like, maybe we should call her and tell her how well we did. And it's just like, shouldn't your client be, like, your main focus? That client owes Tracy Tudor some money for really getting their stuff handled.
And also, smug is not a good look, especially when we know why you're doing what you're doing. We know that you've sold this house and it's a good sell, but you sold it because you were fueled by Tracy.
Absolutely.
And also, why on earth did he even bother bitching and moaning to Tracy the week before if he'd won the house and got it anyway? Like, just don't be a dick.
No, I totally agree. And I was asking myself the exact same question. If you won the house, what the fuck does any of this matter? None of it mattered.
And also, why didn't Tracy get that house? Like, let's look at that. Why didn't the man selling the house not give Tracy? So when she turned up, she did the gig, she did the work, and he still gave it to the guy who didn't turn up. I mean, part of me is like, I just feel like she was onto a loser right from the start.
Absolutely. I'm kind of glad she didn't have to go through selling that house.
Well, me neither. I mean, it's $1.75 million house. She doesn't need it. She's about to sell her own for like $24 million. She's good.
No, and it was also, I think, didn't they say it was like an estate sale? So it was just a family trying to get rid of a house because they had inherited it and nobody wanted it. So, maybe it all worked out for the best.
So yeah, they do sell it in the end. I mean, great for you. Well done. That's all. Nice. Glad to know that James and David sold another house. Let's see what happens. I want more Tracy next week, though, please.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make a note.
And then finally we get New York is back.
New York is back. And it's Halloween.
It is Halloween. Well, just a quick question. Somebody brought this up on Instagram, and I'm really interested to hear what you think, because we've seen a lot of firings from Bravo in light of Black Lives Matter and the racist actions of some of their cast members, and they do seem to have had a fairly zero tolerant approach to it. But somebody did bring up the fact that, of course, not so long ago, Luann basically blacked up for fancy dress, and they were like, I just don't think it's right, she should be gone. If we're doing zero tolerance, then that needs to count too. And I have to say, I don't disagree.
No, I don't disagree either. I think if you look at kind of what she did, and because I think she dressed as Diana Ross, didn't she?
Yeah.
Like, again, you can do that without blacking up.
Yeah, or
Very
you know what? You can choose any other. It was the 70s. I think the theme was the 70s, wasn't it? I mean, she could have chosen any other dress up character. Like, she could have chosen anything else to dress up as. I think it was really poor taste. I think it was. I think it is something that should be addressed and looked at by Bravo. So whoever it was, forgive me, I forget the username or the name, but you're right, you brought up a great point, and I just thought I'd raise it. But this week, again, is Halloween, and they're all dressing up. And it's not Ramona's week this week, is it?
No, it's not. I think Ramona has finally pissed everybody off in the group, along with some hanger-ons and some friends. And
there's literally nobody that isn't pissed with her right now.
No, and I think for kind of good reasons. I mean, I think the overall reason is really good. She's not a good friend.
No.
She uses different friends.
Herself.
Absolutely. She uses different friends for where she is in her life, which is not a friendship. Like, she's got one friend, she's got Elise, who she goes to if she's down. If she's failing up, then she goes to all these other women that can help her get further up. Like, I've always found Ramona to be kind of like a social climber, not
100%.
a very genuine person.
If you serve no use to Ramona, then she will not be friends with you. And we all know people like that in real life. And here's the thing with those people. It doesn't mean you can't have a really good time with them, because people have a good time with Ramona. She can be a good time.
Yeah.
But you have to know what you're dealing with. And you can't invest too much in that relationship. And I think Elise has invested too much in that relationship.
Yes.
I worry that Leah is investing too much in that relationship, because at the end of the day, Ramona, the only person Ramona cares about is Ramona. And like Elise says, she's not dripping in money. I mean, she's probably got enough, but she's not like a massive socialite that can, get Ramona onto yachts or into big fancy parties. But Ramona needed her when she was really, really upset and down and struggling. But now that she's through that, then Elise has kind of been kicked to the curb. So I'm with Elise on this. I think, we can see Ramona for what she is. And it makes me sad to see somebody hurt in the wake of it all.
Yeah. What honestly makes me upset about Elise is that, like, later on in the dinner, like after Dorinda gives the speech that we'll talk about, Elise then goes back over to Ramona and is like, oh, like, I hope you're okay. Like, I've tried to talk to you. Like, kowtows to her. And Ramona is a huge bitch to her. Like, I just can't deal with this right now. I have too much on my plate.
Well, and I was like, is this Elise being the bigger person? Because I have to say, no matter how badly Ramona's behaved, and Ramona has behaved despicably, and I fully appreciate why everybody's pissed off with her. I think what Dorinda does at that party, that stands up and says that and publicly humiliates her, I think is absolutely wrong. And Luann's right. Like, at that point, even I'm feeling a little bit of sympathy for Ramona.
Right.
I know what's driven Dorinda there. I understand that. But I wondered if that was Elise being the bigger person, just coming over going, listen, whatever's happened, that wasn't okay, and I can imagine that made you feel shit. Even at that point, Ramona can't, like, throw her a friendly bone.
No.
She has to be a cunt.
Yeah. I wish Elise hadn't done that. I felt like it kind of watered her message down a little bit. Yeah. I understand why she did it, and I totally agree with you.
She's a nice person. That's why
she is a nice person.
She's genuinely a nice person.
Absolutely. I still think Ramona was wrong to not even, like, throw her a friend bone, as you said. Like, it was really gross to watch. Yeah, or just, like, whatever. She just handled it all wrong. I totally agree with you about, like, the Dorinda speech. I understand why Dorinda was pissed off. If I brought a problem to a friend and they just looked at me and were like, well, are you drunk? I would be fucking livid.
Yeah.
However, I would also not stand up at the table and then, like, make a speech about it and bring everybody else into the crazy.
But it's fucking gaslighting, you know, this
It
whole
is.
like, oh, you've been drinking, like this complete undermining of of the validity of what you're trying to do
Yeah.
because you've had a drink. Like, let's be clear, bitch. Sometimes when I've had a drink, I am for the first time saying what I really truly feel. Like,
Yeah.
don't tell me that the drink is fueling this kind of mythological narrative. It's a very true and real narrative. But even that aside, it doesn't matter whether she's been drinking. What Dorinda was saying was true, but Ramona didn't like it. And then as Ramona moves off to talk to somebody else and realizes Sonia's also pissed with her, she starts to do this kind of like crisis fighting thing where she goes to Dorinda and she's like, oh, well, you and Sonia are my favorites. It's like, are you
Yeah.
fucking joking? Like, this is not an episode of Mean Girls.
No, it was really gross. I also didn't like how when Sonia was kind of trying to talk to Ramona, Ramona tried to get Leah in on the mix and be like, "Oh, Leah, like she called you weird." I think Leah handled that like a fucking boss. It was just like, "I love like," and just kind of blew it off and like made friends with Sonia and like they were cool rather than start like another fight. But I see you, Ramona. I see what you tried to do there.
Yeah, she's trying to pull the puppet strings on this whole friendship group to make it work for
Yeah.
her. And, you know, it just gets tiresome. That all being said, I still fucking think she has every right to have her own fucking birthday party without having to share it with Dorinda or Sonia or whoever she wants to share it with.
This is the dumbest fight storyline ever.
I
Everybody
don't
can
get
have
it.
their own birthdays. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. Just because you don't like birthdays doesn't mean everybody else has to hate birthdays, Dorinda Medley.
And it's her 60th, right?
Yeah, she
Isn't
can
it?
do what the fuck she likes.
Have a big fucking party. Come out wherever you want to come out. Have 60 friends. Have 160 friends. I don't give a shit. It's your party. I don't
Yeah.
know why they're getting their panties in a pinch because she won't let them share her birthday party.
Yeah, and then part of me was like, are they just upset because they felt a little used at the
Well,
venue
that was
thing
wrong.
for
That
the
was
free
wrong.
PR? I agree with you, that was wrong. And I do think, like, Dorinda has a point, like, you're not paying for that whole party.
No, she's not paying for any of it.
However, that doesn't matter. It can still be her own damn birthday party.
Of course,
Regardless
yes.
of money involved. It's her birthday. She wants to have a birthday party. That's 100% fucking fine.
But I'd be pissed if I'd been used, like, to come out, to get onto their social media so that she got her party for free. Like, I understand why that's annoying. Like, I
Yeah.
understand that really well, why that's annoying. But she is very much allowed to have her
Yeah.
own birthday party. So I sort of am with Ramona on that, but then she fucking lost me for the rest of the show. I'm like, nah, I got nothing. I literally got nothing. You make it so hard for me to defend you and your fucking birthday party right now. Right now, you don't deserve a birthday party. Any kind of birthday party.
Absolutely. And then once she left, everybody had a great time. Everybody started dancing and having a great time. Like the minute Ramona left, like the tension left the table.
I know. She needs to just have a word with herself. We saw Leah and Rob here, and Leah introduces Rob to the team. And I have to say, I love this guy.
Yeah, he seems great.
And I mean, I know they know why they're not together, but I sort of want more info about why they're not together.
Yeah. I mean, part of it wonders if it is like her wanting to drink and he agrees with the mother that she shouldn't, because like you could see a little bit like when she started like attacking the crustacean station. He was not having that.
The crustaceans down. But I think that's good. Like, I think that's good. I think they have a relationship where he can speak to her like that.
Yeah.
And I think she listens. But you say that, but of course she's been sober for 9 years. So it's only recently she started drinking again.
True.
So why are they not, like, I don't know. Obviously they have their own reasons.
Knows?
They don't have to explain to me. But seeing as we're on a reality TV show, it would be really useful if they did.
Absolutely.
Explain to me.
No, I think they're super cute together. I think they're cute around their daughter. I really enjoy their banter together, and it's real and it's honest, and that's refreshing.
And I think that dinner with their daughter was really interesting, because I think what Leah's still really struggling to do is she has a lot of anger towards her mum. Fine, I'm sure that that's valid, but I think she's still very much struggling to own the shit she did to her mum too. I think it's very much, she's still, you know, she was hard on me, I was the victim in this relationship. And I think if we were to dig a little bit deeper, we'd find that actually her mum went through some pretty fucking shit times as well because of Leah. So I'm interested to see how we develop that. And in fact, on Instagram, I noticed that Leah had a chip for sobriety. So it looks like she is back on the wagon and in meetings.
Yeah.
So maybe this is all maybe she is on a path to kind of healing, and maybe her mum's relationship might be part of that.
Let's hope so. Like, I never want to see people with fraught relationships.
No, me neither. I live one with my own daughter. So I don't need that. And we have a surprise little cameo in this one.
Yeah. Little Miss Jill Zarin shows up to the party, which with her new fiance, which I thought was really interesting because I feel like the last time we saw her on the show was probably right after Bobby's death. I think they did
I think we saw Bethany go to the funeral, and we did see a cameo in that as well.
Right. But I think that was the last time. So it's nice to kind of see her maybe a little bit back and having a good time and a little shocked at like what she's walking into.
Well, I always loved Jill Zarin, and it was always kind of a real sadness that her and Bethany, because they'd had such a gorgeous relationship, this really maternal relationship. And I think Jill really was the mum that Bethany never really had. And it always made me sad that they had fallen out. And for the life of me, I can't really remember how or why that happened. But yeah, I'm glad to see her back. I always liked Jill. She was feisty and scrappy and fun and proper New York. And I hope we see more of her.
Me too. And I wonder if we will, hopefully, now that there's only a few housewives since Tinsley left. Maybe they'll add some more friends.
Let's see. But that's our 3 shows. But actually, it'll be 4 shows next week because we will have Beverly Hills back next week.
Beverly Hills is back. And I'm hoping it's hot and spicy, which I think it will be. I think we're going to start getting into the rumors surrounding Denise and Brandy and all that good stuff.
Episode 9, aren't we?
I think so.
I think so. And we know that it all really starts to kick off on 10. So I think we're going to get a little bit more of the fireworks. But you'll have to wait until next week for us to be chatting all about that.
That's right.
For now, though, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for tuning in every single week. And please remember, we fucking forgot to talk about it at the beginning again. Rate and review. Please rate and review. It makes such a difference. I can't even tell you how much of a difference it makes. And I've got no dignity. I'm leaving my dignity at the door. Just if you're listening and you haven't rated and reviewed, then do it. And then if you've got friends, just send them the link and just reassure them that it's great and get them to rate and review as well. So we would be very, very grateful. But in the meantime, we hope that you have a fabulous week watching your reality TV. And remember,
smart people watch reality TV too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Please subscribe, rate, and review TV My Husband Hates wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at TV My Husband Hates and join the Facebook group to keep the conversation going when the podcast ends. If Twitter's your thing, you'll find us at TV Husbands Hate. Theme music and production for TV My Husband Hates by Jimmy Sims.